Hello, everyone, and welcome to our very first live Play Dicely after party. My name is Christy Clow, and this is the D&D Talkback Show where the cast of Play Dicely answer my, and hopefully now your, burning questions about our most recent episode, which is episode 21, Shifting Scales. So let's dive on in. All right.
Hi, everybody.
Also, hello. Also, hello.
What's up?
So this episode started right after we won the magic contest. And so the first thing that we kind of got down to was Drac and Baz. It's Baz?
Boz.
Baz. But,
Bozwell.
hunted around the city to try and find a way to send a message back to Darrowcarth. So you ended up doing it via a cleric at the temple using a sending spell, correct? And it seemed like it went through and they got a message back, but they couldn't translate it, unfortunately. It seemed like it was warm in nature though, so that's good. How's Drac feeling about having some sort of connection, or at least update sent to his parents?
Really good. He hadn't thought about the fact that he hadn't sent anything home since he ran into his brother. So it's good. He's glad that he was able to reach his mom, he thinks, and thankful that she responded, he thinks.
A lot of question marks still, but
Yeah.
I got scammed by a priest.
You know what?
they're
These
like
guys
their
are nice.
best customers. They better not be
We've
scamming
given
us.
them lots of money.
I mean, also that situation was unfortunate because, as a DM and as a main spellcaster player, I'm like, yeah, I know spells. I roughly know what they do. And after we went through that whole thing, I looked at the sending spell and I'm like, oh, if they're smart enough, they'll always know what the message is. So I was like, all right, well, now we have a consistency thing. So languages spoken aren't automatically known with the sending spell in this campaign.
Okay.
Making up rules. Setting the rules.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
Makes sense,
More
yeah.
than just
It
being
totally
able
makes
to
sense, yeah.
understand.
It
any
happened. It's
message
canon
sent.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm into it.
Teni, have you written out or have an idea of what that message back was, out of curiosity?
Right now, me and my lawyers at this time are not required to answer that question and will refrain from doing so.
I wasn't
Oh,
asking for
no.
the specifics. I was truly just wondering if you have an idea in your mind of what was sent.
No, which is also part of the reason why the priest didn't understand the message. I feel like
Love
I
that.
really want to think out what that message was. And unfortunately, I'm not as great at improv as I would love to be. So I'm going to put more thought into what that message is. And at some point, I mean, of course,
I mean,
once
Drac
you
will
see your
never
mother
know what
again.
she said, so
Yeah.
you don't even have to think about it.
Well, I mean, but there are ways you could find out. So I am going to think about it.
Okay.
How would he find out?
By asking him or her when you guys
when you
potentially make it to
do find
Darrowcarth?
us. Right,
Speak
okay.
with dead on the priest?
Well,
That's for next session, so
That's true.
So
absolutely.
we kill him and then convince him to verbatim say what the
I know
what my mother said
comprehend
to him.
languages.
He'd have
So
to
I can hear him say it.
remember.
You have
Please
to remember.
refrain from
Phonetically.
killing my priests. They're
I'm assuming
We're leaving the city, right?
Well, I'm assuming the assumption there was that Adam thinks Abe is just going to kill all the priests, right?
I mean,
we're
everyone in the city
concerned.
will be dead, so...
Well, this campaign's
Oh,
about to
wow,
become an
okay.
evil campaign. Save a dragon, then kill the priest.
Get rid of that good characters tag.
Oh God.
We'll get to that.
Um,
Hey.
But yes, Drac is feeling good that he was able to reach his mama.
Yeah, that's nice. I was so happy for you at the beginning of this session.
Yeah, me too, bud.
yeah. Why nothing else happened as far as I remember, I don't think. So, yeah, out of your two parents, who is Drac closer to?
I haven't decided. I feel like Boz is unlike either of his parents, really. Like his dad's not especially stubborn, no, nor is his mom. So I think he's probably just like that himself. But Drac definitely picked up more on like what his father taught him and what his mother taught him. I think more than Boz did.
Okay, very cool. Well, you guys were sending your message. The rest of us were at lunch, kind of discussing and firming up what our next steps would be. But more importantly, we were discussing bug meat and all the various ways that you can cook it, what we think it would taste like, just important stuff like that. I think that was the most important thing that happened at lunch. I guess Azaria received some sort of message or something from the Archdruid Rulek. Is that?
Yeah, that was the name. Yeah.
Cool. Telling them to come to the Tri-Moon Grove and that they can potentially fix Azaria's magical connection, which is very exciting.
That was a lot to just come from a bird.
Yeah, like I understand. Obviously, Teni, you have to provide some sort of hook because Logan can't be with us for a couple of sessions. So like, we can't just have Azaria being there but not talking or having an opinion on anything. But yeah, no, it's like a pretty huge hook. Like, which if Logan had been able to be with us, would you have presented this kind of opportunity so early still, or was this purely because of
Actually, this and the vision that Abe had, I both intended to happen in episode 20, but the magic contest took way longer, so they came up now, and I was like, you know what, this is actually a great way to make up for Logan's not being able to join us for these couple of sessions. So I was like, you know what, this was meant to be the way it was. That's
very cool. Had you discussed with Logan prior to the stream,
Absolutely.
What the message said and everything? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And did that kind of inform your role playing of Rhea?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I was like,
nice. Yeah.
I gave Logan, I'm like, here's the message that comes through. Like, what is your initial reaction? Like, how do you process? What action does this drive you to? And so that was able to inform my portrayal of his character.
Nice. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, how are we feeling about that, gang? I think I'm really that seems so it's almost too perfectly neat and tidy that one of the archdruids that we weren't specifically necessarily looking for this one. I think that was meant to be Renan was looking for them. The fact that they found them, that they've reached out to Rhea, and that they can fix their magic stuff.
Yeah, it just felt like a lot of things.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't we have to get the other
We have to
archdruids?
get the other ones.
So that's a whole situation for that to happen. So
yeah, well, that part, because that was always tasked to us. Renan was always going to be looking. I don't think they had mentioned the name when we first met them. No, okay. So we just knew that they were going to be looking for their own. So I'm just making the assumption that that's who this is.
And because there are so many dang high intelligence characters in this party, I can just tell you what Renan had informed you guys of was his role is as a keeper of the archdruids. So essentially, with these druid enclaves, when all the rest of them had fled to wherever it was they went, he told you guys it was the Beastlands, but left behind was the archdruid and the keeper of the archdruid. The keeper being Renan. Okay. So he was actually already supervising his archdruid and was waiting for them to awaken.
Oh, okay. I think I misunderstood when we had that original meeting.
Which,
I think
that was way back in the day, so it's totally easily misinterpreted.
Okay, so is our task then do we think it'd be easier to find the keeper then, or just we'll kind of find them both as a match set?
That's up for you guys
to find I think the keeper would be the easier one to find because the archdruids are probably hidden away, protected, right?
Yeah.
And the keepers are the ones who are looking over them.
I feel like one will lead to the other.
Yeah.
Although I feel like maybe something's happened between all the keepers and the archdruids because they haven't woken up. I feel like it's the keeper's job to ensure they do. So I feel like maybe they've all been separated.
Mm-hmm.
Would we know the archdruids? They're it's sort of stasis or something? Like, do we know exactly like
You don't know the specifics. Like Renan was just like they're kind of in hibernation, this kind of thing, and what you had been told way back then was how this system was supposed to work out was the land was under siege by dragons, so the druids all fled, and the Saffronis, Logan's character's mother, was supposed to send out this signal that would awaken or alert all the keepers when everything was good, and they would in turn alert their archdruids and then bring back their enclaves.
okay. That's
So we're
actually
just
helpful.
alerting people now.
Or
You are
figuring out what
filling
happened.
The missing
Yeah.
link that that Azaria's mother was supposed to fill.
That makes- I'm glad that we clarified this because I think like
We're
that
figuring out
initial
what the goal is.
conversation, that initial conversation was pretty lore heavy, and my note taking at the time wasn't as good. And so for a long time, I've been kind of like confused exactly about what we were doing. Just being like, we're doing
Thought
something
about
with druids. We have these
We'll
three
figure it out.
locations. We'll get there.
Honestly, it still would have been fine even just with that knowledge, but now you got more specifics.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Stumble upward, fail upward.
Yeah, ball is rolling.
Makes the
up.
role playing. The ball is rolling up.
Little Dimension 20 reference there for you guys. Cool. We also had Elwyn open up a little bit about the book that Nell received, and found out that so it's Niam Rudolph. Is that
Niam Randolph.
Randolph? Oop, I just made an assumption there when I was writing my notes up. Yeah, so that was your father, but you've been using his name as a pseudonym for all the children's books that you've written, which I thought was
Yeah.
very, very cute to find out about.
You ever like write something into your backstory and you're like, I don't even know how this is ever going to come up in a campaign. And then it is awarded to a party member for winning a 3rd place in the arm wrestling competition. Because I don't know what that is.
Yeah, weirdly, that's actually happened to me multiple times. So. I had a question that I don't know if I will do in character or not, because I would have done it in the moment. And I think the moment passed and it felt too sad because we were kind of having a good lunch. But my question was like, has Elwyn written so many children's books as a way to connect with the part of herself that wants to have a family, or in the hope that
1000%.
or that one day she can read them to her own children?
I think all of the above. I think, Elwyn like loves children and she would love to feel like more connected to them, but I think she's always had a very hard time trying to like be around kids. So I think books in a lot of ways are an escape for her.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I just had a vision of what perhaps the future of your character path could be. Maybe it's your destiny to adopt the sad halfling child.
I'll take him in.
Oh,
Barnaby, come
God.
here. Come home.
He's your
I would-
role-playing responsibility.
That'd be so good. Yeah, we just have a
I
kid
can just
with
steal
us.
a child.
So we're gonna have a conversation between Elwyn and Barnaby, but Dallas is doing both voices.
I can do it. I can do it.
I believe.
All right.
If I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always assume that must be the hardest part of being a DM is like, I've heard like in a few different talkback things that the people are like, oh, the scry spell is the worst. It's like, all right, what's the conversation these characters are having, and just having to like do that back and forth. So
I can't remember. You did it at one point in this session because I remember I was laughing at it. You were talking to yourself and going back and forth in 2 voices. I can't remember when you were doing it this time, but made me laugh in the moment.
Yeah, I think it was between myself as a priest and then Bazul.
Maybe. Yeah.
Was that also? It was Fruce and the mayor of Starcross talking
back-
to each other as well.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Theirs was a lot harder too, because their voices were much less distinct from each other.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can any of us learn the scry spell? I guess you could, right, Anthony? Yeah. Okay.
I
Interesting.
think I can
Prepare
too.
yourself, Teni.
Yeah,
I was thinking about this the other day.
be helpful.
I'm not scared of the scry spell. Hit me with it.
You say
Be
that
like,
now.
yeah, they're playing
Good.
golf. That's it.
No, you
Well, yeah,
will.
'cause
You will use the scry spell to your own detriment.
It really will, because everyone I scry on will make their save, and I will never see anything.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah, it's one of those things, I think, right? As a DM, you have to kind of guide the story in that way, because if they scry, you're not just be like, oh, yep, they're just asleep. I mean, I guess you could, but I feel like, in the shows I've watched,
That's lame.
like you want to have the story, right, of being like, okay, like you get like a tidbit information.
Yeah, exactly. If your players are going to use a resource, like reward them some guidance, some information, like what is it they're seeking? Help point them in the right direction with that.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, if they're playing golf, you learn that they like to play golf.
And
That is a piece of information
learning.
to use
And you
against
must
them later.
Sabotage their 4 iron.
That's
prepare
right.
your clubs, yeah.
You learn what days they golf on and what time specifically, and while they're away, you go and you rob them.
Or you
Okay.
you slowly kind of take it from the office, you slowly like fill up their golf irons with like weights, so they get used to it over time, and then during a really crucial like golf business meeting, you take all the weights out, so then they're like drive. The fuck is a golf term? Their putt is way off. Like I'm not an old crusty white man, so I don't know golf terms. Okay.
That's fair.
Anyway, we went afterwards. I guess it was the same day after lunch. We went to the dagger throwing contest. Alwyn was surprisingly dexterous.
What can this girl not do?
Yeah, you've been like so down on yourself. You're like, I'm an adventurer, blah blah. You're like also like, I feel like haven't you said like, oh, what's my like role? Or was that prior when you didn't have powers? You were saying like when you went like you led some missions through the Wilder.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, well, I mean, Elowen without magic is just a child, just a small child.
But I mean, you weren't using magic for throwing daggers, so I think it's like you're slowly kind of developing these other skills, which is
I think that's
really
probably
strong
true.
wrists.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, also at this point, it might also just be, confidence in your own skill.
Mm-hmm.
Fake it till you make it.
It was a good day for Elowen.
yeah, it was a very like confidence building day, I think. Like,
Yeah, well, and I
lot
think
of
I tried
wins.
to play that up with her today as well. That's why I was like, and that's why also I was like, we have to have this conversation about the book like right off the bat, because I don't know what else is going to happen. And if Elowen gets sad, we're not going to talk about it. So I can have this conversation now while I'm feeling good and I feel connected to the party. And then yeah, same with the dagger throwing competition. It's like, I just feel like Elowen's having a good day. We'll do it. Let's go. And take advantage of it while you can.
True. Do we know what happened to Elwyn's father? We know that your mom passed away like relatively recently after you left before you left the Wilder, right?
Mm-hmm. No, you haven't asked. I think I can tell you. I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense for you to know.
Figure it out in
What do you
game.
think?
I don't know. It
figured
might
it
be
out.
a really
Sounds
good
like a
roleplay
good
conversation.
in-game combo.
Okay.
I think it makes sense for you to tell me right now because I hate a secret.
Yeah.
Well, no, ask Elowen. She'll tell you.
Well,
Probably.
it's literally like how long I sat on that like whole "you want a family" question. So I guess I'll ask you.
Oh, and I brought my
15.
dad up to you twice in the last 2 episodes. You haven't asked.
Yeah, you got the in now. You just gotta be
Instead,
like, hey, so
you
your
asked-
dad.
Instead, you
fair,
asked
my-
about bug meat.
That was crucial.
It was
Oh,
important information.
Elwyn's
was.
dad. Come on.
To be fair though, like I think it's just like Nell is very aware of the fact that she needs to be like delicate with certain things. Which I don't know if I've really played up. Like one of my flaws is meant to be that I'm a little intrusive, but I think I'm trying to balance it a bit better because I've been around with you guys long enough to know that it's not super polite to just be like, hey, so your dad, okay, so you're writing books as if you're your dad. Did he die? Is he dead? Just curious, because you don't seem like you want to go back
You
to the
know my dad's a
Wilder.
human.
What?
Well,
I
she's
didn't.
You know my mom's
Half-elven.
an elf and I'm a half elf.
I honestly couldn't remember if you were actually a half elf or a full elf.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I
You
meant
did.
to ask you. You
You
definitely had
certainly
mentioned
did.
it. I just couldn't remember. So
When I
You
say I didn't know it, I forgot.
He
Okay.
died of being a human.
I actually think this came up in character as well. You called me an elf and I corrected you in character and told you I was a half elf.
probably
But I guess Jack can't keep it straight.
there's just
Got
like
a
a
lot
lot of
going on.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
that's
certain little
fair.
details like easily like slip through. So it's fine. What was I gonna say? Oh, Denny, did you have fun planning all of the various Heroes Fest activities for us?
Absolutely. I mean, like, I was like, what the heck am I possibly going to do after running a festival in Starcross? And I was like, well, let's give it a shot. And I was like, let's just give it a bunch of magic items. Let's just do it. So I was like, you guys are going to compete, see what magic items you can get. This is your chance to buff yourselves. I was like a toss-up of whether I was going to give you guys a level up or not. And after last session, I was like, yeah, this is good. Though, don't expect a level up for a while now.
That's fair.
That's
Okay,
fair.
6 was the one I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
Same.
That's-
I like needed that ASO so bad.
Yeah,
Or
6
ASI.
feels
ASI.
pretty
ASI.
significant for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did anyone else get anything cool? Because mine was just about my ability score. I think there might have something. I haven't actually looked at anything else, but
Mine is about my ability score, but I have to talk to Teni about the feat that I want to take.
wait,
I
how
got
can
a
you do-
cool
you can't,
feat.
You can't do both.
I'm not doing both.
Oh, okay. He can't do both unless I can too.
If you're both gonna fight about it, you get neither.
Aw.
Oh,
I will turn this level up around.
I can take it back.
Yeah. So you're taking a feat, Ryan? Did you decide what you're taking?
Yeah. Adam persuaded me.
Sharpshooter.
Ooh.
Sharpshooter.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
It's good.
I'm gonna be extra good with guns.
Yeah, that makes sense.
On the note of Ryan's mechanics, I did just message him this morning too, being like, dude, I've played a gunslinger as well, and having your grit based off of wisdom, I get it's a historical thing from Pathfinder, but no, we're scrapping that. Your grit points are now based off of your proficiency bonus, so he's got 3 grit points now.
And I'm very thankful.
Oh, I didn't realize that's how it worked.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really dumb.
I
The
mean,
proficiency makes way more sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a fighter, like, it's constitution and either strength or dexterity. Why also have to go
Yeah.
wisdom
Yeah.
for grit?
Yeah.
And then Ryan's also charismatic as a merchant, so he has to go charisma there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
I like the design direction they're taking most of the new stuff in D&D is just using proficiency bonus because they haven't used it for much as of yet. So
Yeah. And plus, I'm so excited because now I'll get to use my shots more. Like I literally
violent shot.
violent shot.
Shot.
I've used it like I don't even know like twice.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Just make sure
effectively,
you
yes.
take the -5 though.
Oh, you know I'm gonna do both at the same time.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean.
yeah,
It can't hit. If it hits, it'll destroy half the planet.
yeah. It'll just
Nuclear
blow
bomb.
up whatever I'm shooting at the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm excited because from here on out, whenever an ASI shows up, I'm literally just gonna be taking feats. So
That is nice.
I'm jealous. I love taking feats so much, but I just don't know if like my stats are where I want them to be fully yet. So
Yeah.
it's such a hard balance. Like,
yeah.
yeah. Adam,
a
did you
tough-
get anything cool?
I am banking my level.
Oh,
to
that's
see
right.
what
Right. To see if
happens in
you.
See
the
what
opening
happens
moments of the next
next.
session.
Okay.
Well, the opening moments will be different, but we'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
Fair.
We'll see if he's even playing Abe after the beginning of next session.
Oh my god.
Stressful. Although, okay, it's weird because I fully thought that was the premise of the character back in the Junin Mountains. When you died for the first time, I thought it was going to be like each time you come back as someone new. And at the time, I was really like excited about it. I was like, that's kind of a cool thing. And now I'm like, don't you dare! Like, I don't want anyone else. So, I mean, it's
We'll
fine if
see.
that's what ends up happening. Like, I'll be okay. But
Will you?
no.
No,
I thought.
I won't. I won't be.
Yeah. Oh God, it'll be so interesting to see what happens.
No pressure, Danny.
I'm
Abe,
just
what's your
upset.
AC?
What?
Abe, what's your
Sorry?
AC?
Without a shield, 17.
Oh my
With a
goodness.
shield, 19.
Okay.
I'm just glad we made the appointment for 8 o'clock the next morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
worked
think-
out really well.
I'm gonna be
I
so
think-
fucking tired.
We're all gonna be in really good spirits for it tomorrow.
Yeah, this is a good time.
I'm gonna try to hop
Things to
down.
go really well, right?
I'm gonna hop down to the questions I had about that specifically, just because we're in the.
Can we just take a
zone.
quick step back?
Yeah.
Just one step back. I just want to say it's been really cool seeing Elowen come out of her shell more
Yeah.
and connect with the
Yeah.
party. It's great I know that there's been some animosity between her and Drac about what happened to Rhea, and I think the last like couple days have kind of helped start the healing process for that.
Totally.
Them just kind of having the whole party just having a fun time together is great to see.
No, it's been so nice. Yeah. Yeah, I've been thinking about it with Elowen lately as well, where like at one point in my life, I was like, I was thinking about like the like path forward for Elowen, and I really feel like there's like a fork in the road at some point where it's like we either break this curse or we don't. And in my mind at one point I was like, it really could go either way. And I think there's interesting story moments depending on both paths. But playing her happy the last couple sessions, I'm like, I really like things to work out for her, honestly. I think I'd like to see her happy. That would be nice.
That's how I feel about Gideon too. I would love if things could work out for him.
I mean,
yeah.
What makes characters compelling is when they're after something, always have a drive of some kind. And even if it conflicts with your own character's ideals and it makes you a hypocrite in what you believe in, that is making interesting character.
I agree. What was I gonna say?
Abe's questions.
Oh no, I just said something about.
We can get to that later.
No, there was only there was only one other question, and then it was down to Abe stuff. But what I was gonna say is I do think that Valenbridge has been really good for our party. Like we've had a lot of, we've been here. I mean, in game for like a week or whatever, but like out of like in terms of sessions, it's been like a while. I think it's been good. It's like a lot of bonding. I think like we'll be better suited going out now. Although I'm worried about how it ended this episode, but
we'll get there.
That actually brings up a question from me then. How of course, like people, you go somewhere, you have memories, you have experiences, and you kind of imprint yourself on them. Have your characters imprinted yourselves on Valenbridge despite your original like phony impressions of what the city was?
The reverse, has Valenbridge imprinted on us, or
sure, whatever way makes sense. Like how are you deeply attached to the city now?
I think I was one of the ones that like wasn't actively against it when I arrived. Like I was just kind of excited because I've never been to a city this big. I think it's like a yes and no. Like there are parts of it that like the whole like dealing with the crime stuff and like a lot of the moral quandaries that have come up while we were here have been really hard for Nell. But like actually being able to like go to the Arcanet Institute and study, and like I think Rhea saying that like there could be like a possible like career path for Nell there was really cool. And I think like meeting Alumpha and like having like our moment together as a group up on the clock tower have all been like really impactful. But it has just kind of felt almost like everything was on pause while we were here. Like it was just kind of like we need to get going, kind of.
Yeah, I don't know if I feel like the city is like the thing that I am like taking away from this place. More so just the time that we've spent with the party, the group's dynamic. Yeah,
basically the same for me. Like Drac still views this as a very much like this is a metropolis to him because he hasn't seen Brolbar. Like even Balesville was pretty big compared to Darrokarth, so this place is more like a lot of good happened here, and now a lot of sad has happened here.
A lot of sad happened here earlier too.
Yep.
Let's remember that Azaria died here.
Yeah, I think that's part of of it.
Big
They
sad.
got better.
True.
That is such a funny way to phrase that. Like they got better from being dead.
I got better.
Oh man.
It's just a flesh wound.
Just a flesh wound. Similar thing. It's what the party's sort of bonded over and stuff. Well, in Valenbridge, that's the biggest thing for me. Although I will say that I'm very attached to couple of the NPCs. I'm like, I don't want anything bad to happen to them. Like Yolenfa, for example, and Miriamus as well. those two in particular, I'm like, if something bad happens to them, I swear to God, I'm going on a solo adventure. I'm not coming back. I'm killing whoever did it.
You trust Mary though? I thought you didn't like Mary.
I feel weird about Mary.
Gideon doesn't trust Mary.
Oh, okay.
Because it doesn't line up with what he knows at all and what the research shows and everything. I mean, I personally am a little questionable of Marimus, but he seems like a pretty kind person. And maybe again, like, we don't know how big the event is and how many people it confused and everything like that. So we don't know what theories are true in even the slightest regard. So at the end of the day, I feel like if he did have something to do with it, then I feel like it's the cleanup that he was responsible for, not necessarily the event itself. So either way, he's like, I don't think he's the bad guy. But I don't trust him. I think he's lying to me.
I just think he does a lot for how important he is. He's all over the place.
He is all over.
I think he's hands-on.
What do you think he does?
Is he not like the principal? He's one under Charity Cozybug. He's like the second highest person, isn't he?
But what makes you think he does so much?
He orchestrates the orchestra. It's like the dean of your school district runs the school orchestra. What's going on here?
So
well, I take that to be like then. he's like the head of the university essentially, right? Or like I see it through the institute, and sure, so yeah. So it does seem like that doesn't seem weird to me because it's like, oh, this is like a big important display of like our like magical ability as like a collective. So that seems normal that he would be like in charge of that.
Yeah, the Arcanet like student orchestra is like the big musical body of that institution, and after a speech by the Reeve of the city, here comes the head of the school to play with the biggest band on the biggest spectacle day of the year to put on a show.
And I'm just still angry that he gave me 0 gifts in Gideon 3.
That must be right? What it is.
Yeah, that is a little annoying. I do agree. He is sexist, it seems, because he didn't give gifts to the 2 women in the group, but whatever.
Or Abe.
Abe didn't get anything.
You got a bag of holding now.
Yeah, you got the bag of holding. I want Abe on this one. Me and Abe can go be mad about this.
Exactly.
All I'm gonna say is like I'm really happy I have a bag of holding. I'm truly just being like nitpicky for the lols because technically it was kind of just like I was like, oh great, a bag of holding. They're like, oh yeah, you can keep that if you want. It really wasn't meant to be like, and a bag of holding to you, traveler. Like it clearly wasn't like given to me with like thought and consideration because they didn't know like that I fucking wanted one. So.
They're just sitting there like, I can't believe she just stole our bag.
No.
Also,
the whole time the bag was intended. It's like got a bajillion coins in it and potions. It's like,
sure, Daddy.
Here's a burlap sack. Go walk through the street with that.
Hey, by the way, who wants my gem of brightness? Because I have night vision goggles now.
I think Abe should take it.
Abe's hands it, right? Now.
Yeah.
Do you have it in your inventory?
No.
Clap it.
We were a bit busy at the end of the session. So
a little bit.
Didn't get to add it.
I'll keep it in my inventory until you put it in yours.
Sounds good.
One thing I was going to say is that like Marimus strikes me as like a professor who's kind of got tenure. And so he's just kind of like doesn't actually like do like that much kind of like day to day in terms of teaching or anything. So he's just kind of like funky and gets to explore his like interests. So that's why he's kind of just like a little bit involved in everything. So he's like, oh, he's gonna see what's up.
He's kind of like the Dumbledore of the school. Like there's a whole government above him, but he's in charge of this place.
Yeah,
agree. I'm gonna take his job.
Don't you touch my man.
I wonder if he has any ties to the. I wonder if he has any ties to the Malege, the magic law enforcement. Maybe
he would, right?
I feel like he would.
It's kind of part of the Arcanet.
Although the ghost problem would suggest otherwise, but I'm not sure.
True.
I don't
I've
actually
been wondering
really
that
know
the entire time
since
question. We saw the Malege. Why didn't they just go in and kill the ghosts? Why did we random people have to do that?
Yeah, I don't know, but are the Malege from the Arcanet or are they from the Ascendancy?
You'd have to start going to ask questions about the Malege.
Doesn't Elwyn know?
I think I know.
You might know.
I have
like,
a doc you gave me.
You have a doc, but have you really been with the Arcanet for that long?
No.
If anything,
No.
Azaria would know better.
Azaria
and even
would know
then,
much better than I would.
They've been down in Starcross over the last 50 years.
Oh, so
I
the
gotta say-
Malege knew?
Not that they're new, it's just that Azaria has been at the furthest reaches of this empire. And
Well, the
there
whole
were clearly
empire's
none
only
of them.
existed for 50 years, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So everything's kind of new.
Yeah.
Well, can I just say, the Malege is a really cool name. Very. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You may not.
Take that back.
I just want to make sure, Adam, you didn't answer the question that of how Abe is
Teni?
feeling about about how Abe is feeling about
the city.
The city. Yeah.
About the city. It's kind of the to quote our group chat, Sammy's. I miswrote Sam's earlier.
Oh,
Or
I did not read it.
Samesies. Why I felt the need to explain that, we'll never know. But yeah, I think he wouldn't want to live there. He doesn't want to visit if it's not a festival. But there's definitely some spots that are gonna hold lasting memories, like the clock tower.
Mary
Yeah.
Mrs. Window?
Yeah.
Remember it forever.
Looking
Belly flop
out
world champion
majestically.
Abe.
Yep. Landed on his head.
I still can't believe you rolled a crit on
I
that.
can't. One of these
it's a
times.
good
believe
moment.
So funny.
Three
gotta
of
make a
those happened
TikTok.
in one episode.
Yeah,
I know.
which is nuts.
Oh, okay.
The gods
Alrighty.
smiled upon us.
Yeah, yeah. They really didn't want me to whip out my backup character that session.
Alrighty. Okay, Adam, you're up. So you, Abe, decided well, I can't speak. You've decided that you're going to go through with the Greater Restoration. Seemingly, it should still happen. We'll see. Tomorrow, I guess, in game. So I have a few questions about that. Did Abe's conversation with Drac and the negative outcome of the augury spell deter Abe from going through with this at all?
I think it added some spices to the stew. But it didn't deter him as much as he thought. It was definitely important to like talk about it. And I think he sees Drac as kind of similar to himself, and probably Rhea as well, as sort of able to take that step back from the situation and look at it more objectively.
What are you saying about the rest of us?
Nothing.
Uh-huh.
That's interesting.
I'll write that down.
Oh, okay. All right.
Whatever.
As we've seen, Gideon performs very well.
In
In stressful situations.
Yeah, he doesn't self-medicate with a spell or anything like that.
No.
He doesn't have a problem. Why would you ask?
Why would you
still-
even think that?
I still freaking love that.
What, the self-medication?
It's such a good use of that spell.
It's like,
Sorry, Abe?
it's such an in-the-moment decision. But I'm like, it's stuck.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna combine these two questions into one a little bit. Like, if everything were to go perfectly, like, what would the desired outcome be for Abe? But also, like, realistically, like, what is Abe most convinced is going to happen?
The first question answer is for Abe. He comes out not having any influence from Malden anymore. And I guess he's a bit unsure about his abilities post Malden. Because obviously, like, raging is very much Malden's power, but how much else of it is? Like, he's a light frame Argon folk. does his physical strength and durability also belong to Paladin? He doesn't know.
Hey, become a fighter. We're really cool.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I was gonna
There
say-
might be stat decreases. I don't know.
I don't need you to give me the specifics if you want to save it for like an in-game reveal, but have you kind of thought about like mechanically what that would mean if like everything were to go perfectly, like what you would do with that situation?
Mechanically, I would lose Rage and Warrior of the Gods, basically lose everything to do with my subclass. But ideally keep Reckless Attack, Unarmored Defense, Extra Attack, and or Danger Sense, but when has Danger Sense ever actually helped? And Unarmored Mobility. The one I want to still be fast. It's a pillar of the character's identity.
But you would stick to being a barbarian, but just kind of reduced a little.
I don't think I'd be able to retrain class levels or anything. So I think moving forward, I would probably have to be a fighter. I have the stats to be a ranger, but I don't know. I don't think Abe would ever be able to cast spells. So,
Well, I guess that's kind of what I meant. Like, similar stuff has happened before, like on different actual play shows. Like it's happened in Dimension 20, where someone's like reskinned like their class, or maybe just their subclass. I can't remember exactly, but I guess it would just be a discussion between you and Danny, which would be interesting.
I mean,
sorry.
That this wouldn't be the first time this has even happened in this setting. In the last campaign, Taskum Tuck was a druid up until level 14, or I guess level 9 or so, 9 or 10. And then once his insanity was cured, he became a ranger completely. Like, he was no longer the class he had been. That was a completely different identity.
Super cool.
That's true.
You know what would be really interesting too is if like you stuck with barbarian, but then through like role play and stuff, you managed to find your way into a different subclass.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
Find a
very well.
different reason to get mad.
It might have a reason to get mad concerning the end of this session. But again, we'll get there.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
I haven't really talked about it with you, Denny, like what we talked about this 2 months ago or something. So we haven't really revisited it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a conversation for us to have. As you all know, and for the viewers out there, I'm a very like flexible, malleable DM. So it's like whatever vision needs to happen, I will find the way to make it work mechanically.
Very exciting.
I operate on a similar speed because of you. You inspired me. So, there you go. True facts about the Denny.
Yeah, and then just the second half of that question, like, you or Abe, like, what do you think is the most likely outcome? Or I guess, like, most worried about?
Abe is most worried about that the sensation that he described to Nell, that like hunger and how he was feeling everything. He's most worried that whatever that is will be what takes control of his body. Yeah, that's his biggest fear. That's the main reason he didn't want anyone else there, because obviously when Abe awoke the first time, it was very docile, but he doesn't know if that would be the same for anyone else after this process. So
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like a little bad as a player in retrospect of being like fully like against your wishes. Of
why
being
don't
like,
you want us to be there?
Why didn't you want us to be there? You hate us, you're friends. Let us support you. And like it was in character, so like I can't really regret that choice because that is like how Nell what she would do and how she would feel. But yeah, I felt bad because I'm like, I feel like I steamrolled into you, like you having like us there. But I don't know. So
I think
hopefully you don't begrudge that at all.
Thank you for finding a way to not split the party.
I kind of feel like, I like That's also why I tried to do the like book talk with Elowen when I was like, I want to have like a group conversation. I feel like we split off into pairs and have important conversations often. And I'm like, we got to start having more conversations as a group so we're all on the same page about stuff. Drac pieced off, but we'll catch you up at some point.
Be right back. Continue.
I think I just have one last question. I don't know if you guys want to get into this. I'm happy for it to be a surprise, but is it kind of going to be up to Teni, like how it works out, like in terms of what personality comes back, or if anything like that happens?
I have no idea. We like loosely talked about it, but
Teni?
Well, I mean, if his answer is I have no idea, then I have to say I have some idea.
No
it's
one
also
has
a
any
dice
idea.
game, so
It's like, okay, and then greater restoration happens, and
improv from there.
yep. it's just like dead air for like 5 minutes. Cool.
Good talk, guys.
Yeah, all right.
The story is yet to be written. We will see what happens.
That's true.
I'm like so stressed that you're going through with this. Because you talked about it, and I was like, that's a wild thing to even think. Why would you even talk about this? And then you're like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I get it. And I think it's a great choice, but I would be very scared.
It's definitely really interesting to me. I honestly, I guess like in a weird way, I'm like, oh, it's too soon. But like, obviously, like, you know, I guess when else would you do it? Maybe like a roll bar perhaps, but.
Yeah, that's also, it's probably sooner than Abe would like. Just because of what could potentially happen, but it's now or what, like 3 months from now?
Yeah, that's true.
So. I like the decision because you're staying true to Abe's character.
Yeah.
I think there were a few moments in this episode where we had to make a choice that would be true to our characters, and that was one of them.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna hop back up just to give Adam a break for a second. So on our way back to the inn after everything that we did that day, we overheard a story about Floria, Doratress, and Halfy's halfway house, which I thought was really cool. Kind of like, I like it when you like pepper in little stuff that's from like the previous campaign, because obviously it's meaningful for the guys that were in it, but it's also just fun to like hear about it for us. But it made me like kind of interested in, I guess, part of like the world building sort of thing. Like I know when you did the previous campaign, you weren't using ancestries and culture, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
But now for this one we were. So I'm curious, like typically in like traditional D&D lore, like half elves just mean humans and elves. But we're doing it that it's like much more kind of mixed. And so I'm kind of, I guess, curious about like how far the racism extends, like in the universe, I suppose now. Like, would it be like anyone that has like mixed elven heritage would be the same, like face the same kind of like racism, I guess?
So yeah, I mean, like talking about the society that lived underground, and you know, with dragons taking over the surface, Dragonborn were basically shunned. So there was elements there, like the racial prejudice had a huge theme in that previous campaign, and kind of a story of, you know, beating societal prejudice and kind of becoming champions of a better a vision for a better world. And that's kind of what that campaign became, was these guys were model people trying to help people see things in a new way, and literally move to a different life. Like in terms of like the racism as it existed in that campaign, like it was mostly because, you know, it was like everybody was stuck in a single cavern. You know, there was only so much you could do. Resources were limited. It was a highly stressful situation. It was survive or die. And so a lot of these kind of things kind of spurred that. As far as like how it's turned now, like the elven prejudice is kind of gone because the elves helped reclaim scroll bar with their massive army, because apparently what they'd been doing for the 200 years was figuring out a way to combat the dragons. But of course, they couldn't communicate that because things were happening too quickly. And remnants of that prejudice live on through the portrayal so far of Kardrak Mithrilcote, where he's like pointed out Azaria as like a dirty fae and things like that, which really, that's it. He is a terrible person. But now there's of course the draconic prejudice that still does exist, because the dragon's impact on this landscape was so massive, and the Dragonborn had a lot of challenges to kind of overcome, unfortunately. And I like Dragonborn lore because, you know, they're very much champions of a cause, so they kind of went very zealot in their, like, we must prove ourselves that we are no longer servants of the dragons, and so they went on a dragon crusade. Unfortunately, also not a great act. So, yeah, it's interesting the way this that racial prejudice exists in this campaign. I don't want to lean too heavily on it, so like I haven't been bringing it up every session where it's like, Drac, people are giving you funny looks. It's occasionally like, you know, ooh, you're shiny, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's
and
fair.
we had talked about this a little bit before the campaign started, is just like, you know, you informed me of like the fact that Dragonborn were kind of shunned a little bit, but then they created this thing, this cleansing breath, to make them not shunned anymore, for people to see them in a better light. And I was like, okay, cool. Drac has no idea what any of that stuff is. He's just coming out of a whole different place. People are looking at him weird. Okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah, you're completely removed from that world.
Yeah, so to him, it's just like, people think I'm weird. Cool. I think they're weird. Cool.
And talking about the ancestries and cultures rules that were created, back for that first campaign, I had actually envisioned creating such rules myself. Like, I had ideas for, like, you know, dwarf halflings and human dwarves, like, and I was like fleshing out those cultures. But then we were just like, let's get to playing. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna set that aside. I'm not gonna delve too much into this. Let's just go. And so now we have ancestries and cultures, and it's more prevalent in this campaign.
Yeah, for sure. That's exciting, though. It's like nice that like someone else kind of made the supplement for you, because then it's like it's all kind of there, and then you can just kind of go build off of that if there's anything else that you want to add or anything. So it's a nice, yeah.
So big shout out to Arcanus Press, the makers of those rules.
Yeah, definitely.
And those are so fun. Wait, I just want to call out as well. I messaged Teni about that story afterwards as well, because I just thought that was so cool. And it was such like I thought like, because we kind of talked about it afterwards as well, but I think it was like, because Elwyn is a half elf, as we've all learned today. But
brand new information.
So I thought it was really cool to hear that story. And I was kind of like, oh, like that's like, you know, an alternate like life that Elwyn could have led, was like that one underground. And it's just, I don't know. I was very touched by that story listening to it. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I had to say. I just really love that this, like, the world is so expansive, and it's just really cool. I feel like Teni just keeps bringing stuff up where I'm like, I have a whole new like perspective on things now just from this world. It's so cool. I love this game.
It was very sweet that you messaged me. I'm glad it meant a lot.
Yeah, I kept thinking about it. I couldn't stop. I was like, oh, I want to know more about this lady. All right, I'm going to buy some books before we leave Valenbridge.
Ooh. Oh, there was an idea. Okie dokie. Okay, so we all went back to the inn and we drank a bunch because I turned all of the liquid in a 1 mile radius into sparkling wine, right?
Yeah, any capped or corked bottles, containers popped with sparkling wine.
I like that detail of it, that it's like specifically like capped, because that's so much more kind of like trickster-esque. So that's fun. Okay, I didn't know that part. It's fun to discover. Like, I'm having a ball because I don't want to read any of it ahead of time. So I'm like, okay. Cool. All right. So after we all kind of stumbled to bed,
just
Dave,
you.
I
Some of
feel
us weren't
like-
stumbling.
I feel like
I was.
Gideon,
Gideon
yeah,
Sure,
Gideon
Gideon.
was with me there.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Rio was drunk too, though they were
Funny.
holding it together a little bit better.
Wait, who?
I don't know.
Rhea.
I did not make that choice on their behalf. I said they were tipsy. But it just happened to be enough to, knock them out for the night.
Right.
Whatever that means. Logan, chime in, please. Help.
Convenient.
Yes, exactly.
Look, sometimes I feel like, hey, why not? We're in the middle of a festival. Not
You
them
know-
let loose.
Totally.
It's fine.
I'm going to add there was an element of me being like, do we include Azaria in this fight coming up? But I was like, Logan must be the one to use that crossbow first. So I knocked Azaria out of the fight.
True. That's a good call.
Wow. It speaks to how truly chaotic everything was that I fully did not even think about how Rio just wasn't there. Not in I forgot about Logan, but more so just just there was so much going on. I was like, yeah, it's fine. Not in a mean way. Sorry, Logan. Anywho. Cool. Yeah, so Abe had another dream.
He keeps doing that.
Yeah, what the hell? So pretty cryptic, maybe. There was a signpost with 2 directions, left and right. There was a small stone statue at the base of a horse rearing up out of a cloud. And there were some lit candles indicating that this perhaps is some sort of shrine. And there was just a really casual, voice that was asking, Ferryman of the Worthy, where are you?
It's 2 different voices, right?
Was it?
No, it was a single voice.
Oh.
Okay. Also, there was a very fun little cryptic thing that Teni did at the end where it's you return to consciousness if you weren't already in it. As in, maybe this wasn't a dream, but it was just something else. Rude. Yeah. Again, you don't have to share because I'm happy for it to come out in game, but did this have any particular meaning to Abe at all? Is this area trigger anything?
I think I guess it kind of reaffirms the idea that if he doesn't do anything about being the chosen of Malden, then it is going to create more problems. So if there's a whole bunch of people asking where is the ferryman, and the ferryman is off in the water looking for a ghost dragon, then that might cause Malden to be sorry, buddy, you're swimming to the shore.
You're fired.
I don't know if he'd fire him, but
Yeah, no, you're fired.
Right out of the cannon.
yep.
Malden's just J. Jonah Jameson.
Is your hope then, if things were to go perfectly with the Greater Restoration, that someone else would replace you as the chosen or the ferryman?
Yeah. Abe is hoping that by repairing his crystal, he just sort of ends whatever agreement the chosen had with Malden.
Ah.
Because that soul is in that crystal, right? So if
Yeah.
it gets repaired, it just goes poof.
Yeah.
Somewhere else.
He's basing a lot on Maramus saying that there would only be one soul in the crystal.
Hmm. Despite the fact that
Oh.
the soul, what was it called? The Midnight Sun, right?
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
underground. Despite
That's
that, the fact that that one had a ton of souls in it.
Yeah. It was much bigger. It was much bigger, though.
How big is your crystal?
Yeah,
I would
is
assume an inch, 2 inches.
what? It's at the center of your chest, isn't it?
It's kind of like a this
Yeah.
like a 4-5 inch.
But no bigger than other soul shards. At least we only have seen the one, but
Well, I mean, any Argon folk who isn't wearing a shirt or something, which a lot of them don't have to wear clothing because they look like suits of armor. They'll just have the crystals bare on their chest. And in comparison,
Oh.
roughly the gems are approximately the same size. Some might be a bit like chunkier, like let's say from as small as 3 inches to as big as 8.
Like Fruce was a pretty big guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, what did he have a bigger soul shard probably then?
Yeah, his
It's not
might
about
have.
the size of the crystal, okay? It's fine.
Heck, I posted on my Twitter like way back, like my original like concept sketches of what Argonfolk are like. You could see some of the gems on those sketches.
Oh god, I have to go back and look at that because I don't
I
think
pulled up like our character art because I was like, oh, just look. Nope, he's wearing a poncho.
Poncho. You could just barely see the top of the Malden insignia underneath the poncho.
I know what the Malden insignia looks like because you sent it to me at my request.
The bird.
Which was good because I had a different image in my mind because I thought originally you described it that the eye was the crystal, but no. That was just my own imagination. Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to process. So is Abe's goal to like push out all the other personalities and just have his own? Is that the hope?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's basically just trying to be Abe.
Huh.
Hundo P. Abe.
I really wish it's just Abe.
Yeah. What a beautiful
Especially
idea.
after what just happened. Oh, Drac wants his bro.
Oh.
It's so funny.
His brother from another robot?
Crystal?
Crystal?
From an amorphous void?
Yeah.
Abe Morphus?
Ooh. We're narrowing in on something here.
Yep. We have to go deeper.
I guess I truly had a really nebulous like concept of what this ritual was supposed to do for you because I hadn't really thought about it. So knowing the specific of what you're hoping for, I'm like, ooh, that's wishful thinking.
Thanks.
I just didn't really realize like what the intention was, I suppose. Just kind of like, oh, separate from Malden, okay, for sure. But I had not thought about just like about like getting rid of all the other personalities. I'm like, I don't know. Okay.
And
Well,
by extension, all of the memories that aren't his, too.
Yeah.
All that kind of
whoa.
stuff.
You'd be like, I guess not like a baby, but like that'd be crazy if like the only memories you had were like,
Well, it'd just be Abe's memories.
yeah, oh my god, you'd be like, this is maybe really patronizing. Yeah, you'd be like a baby duckling or something. It's just like you've imprinted just in our group and those are your only memories.
Oh.
I mean, he did make friends with the first, 4 people he met. 5 people.
Yeah.
And those are the only friends he's wanted to have.
Oh, that's so nice.
Except for
fine.
Steve and Maramus.
Steven, actually?
Mr. Tobras.
Yes, thank you, yes.
Is that the
Blacksmith.
Okay, great. Sorry, my apologies for not remembering.
You gotta know, Steven.
He's my
Abe, you
best
must fight for Stephen's honor.
Wow, he's your best friend.
Seriously,
I
Abe?
didn't want to tell you this.
That's really hurtful to Nell. All right, she's just ripping up pages from her notebook. Fine. All right, I don't care. Whatever. Cool. Okay, let's talk about this battle that we experienced.
Wait, sorry. Can we go back just 1 second though? Because because you had the vision that called like the ferryman of the worthy, but why? Like, what happened in the fight that the ferryman of the worthy needed to be there for? Right?
Well,
like, what's
I have
going
a
on?
thought.
It wasn't during the fight; it was before the fight.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I assumed it was calling us towards that fight, but it wasn't. It was just something completely different.
I think it was just kind of
Oh, interesting.
What's your thought,
Interesting.
Ryan?
I've had one thought, and it's a bit of a tinfoil hat theory. So,
But
brace
Gideon's
yourself.
all about that.
Ready.
None of mine are like that. So
Right. So that ferryman of the worthy, where are you thing? I'm like, okay, so why would somebody who worships Malden beg for the ferryman to show up? And I'm like, maybe they're embroiled in a combat as we speak, as they're begging for him to show up because they don't want to die the normal way. They want to die the way they've been begging to. So maybe, hear me out. Maybe those bug things showed up and just started murking people. And this is like a last ditch call out for hope. Like, please don't let these things kill me. And then they're all dead. But that's my thought.
well, okay.
Yeah.
It brings up like a lot of questions that like I've had for a while because From like the document that I found that was written by Adam, but Arthur Pendrack in game, there was the single follower of the Endless Wanderer or Eternal Wanderer.
Endless, yeah.
Endless Wanderer, Eternal Challenger.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. From the Endless Wanderer path. And they had talked about having like a vision like of Abe's like Arkenfolk body. And was like, it was seemingly like he was kind of putting his affairs in order in a certain way. Like he was coming back to Brolbar to say goodbye to his like mentor. And then he was going out to follow this vision. So it brought into question for me, like what has happened to any like worthy souls in the time that Abe was inert, you know? So I'm wondering, I'm like, either like you said, like this ferryman of the worthy like call out is happening like currently. I'm almost wondering, is it like an echo from like the past, would have just been the past 50 years that there wouldn't have been a chosen?
You do not know the answer to that.
Okay. All right. Well, regardless, however much time that like Abe's original body was gone versus when he came back, like that's what I find really curious, you know, because like this person had a vision of Abe, but he also then mentioned too like having like a vision of the chosen specifically, and it seemed like two distinct things. So that was something I was really curious about, because I'm like, who was he envisioning as the chosen? Because he described Abe as like a statue.
Kind of looks like a statue if he stood really still.
Yeah,
Picked a
especially
nice
like
pose.
if like this, if oh wait, I guess I don't know when this document was written, so I don't know if it's like post desolation, post like creation of Arkenfolk, but
I do believe it was dated. I believe it was like 25 years prior.
Okay. So that's interesting. He should have known what an Arkenfolk is.
And if you want the extra tinfoil sprinkles on top of the hat. Yeah. So again, I don't remember where like Abe's vision went off to, but
Northeast.
Northeast. Okay, never mind
Yeah.
then. I will axe this theory. But I was like, the only followers that we had met thus far were those in the Dunan Mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, what if Kardrak went back to clear up a loose end?
Oh yeah.
He just was like, hey, you know these gangs that I have all working for me? We're gonna go raid the shit out of this area. And, just get rid of them.
Yeah, I'm really
Kardrak likes killing
curious
things.
about.
They used them to attack the railroad.
Yeah, I know. But they're a loose end now because they know about them.
Yeah.
And they follow you. Like they want you to succeed. So like Kardrak knows who we all are. And it's like, well, he knows who you are. He knows that these people really like you. And will probably do anything should you summon them.
Yeah. Really like is a strong word. I don't think Lyco likes me.
Okay, well, Lyco doesn't like you, which is funny because he has like in his name. But anyways,
Does Lyco like lychee fruit? Lyco takes a liking to lychee fruit, like
wow.
But
yeah, there you go. There's all the tinfoil I could muster.
For sure. Okay, I don't know if it's going to be as simple as I can find this like intersection on the map, but I'm going to place my bet on the like signpost being like just north of the Arturo Bridge, the path that goes one way to Brolbar, one way to Pentalot. So we can come back here in a few sessions after we get confirmation on that. That's my bet, though.
Hold on, I can add the map to the call here.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. Well, and that's where Bug Boy lives too. That's where the bug farmer is.
Bam. Map.
No.
Isn't
Let me
it?
just edit this
No.
on the fly.
Am I making this up?
Bug farmer lives.
Oh, sorry. I see what you're saying.
Like, yeah.
I didn't actually have the map open. I just heard
Okay.
fork near Brolbar.
Christy, can you describe the area you thought that was
Okay.
describing again?
So at the top here,
Well,
so
nobody can.
Brolbar is on the right, Pentalot is on the left. So just past the Arturo Bridge, there is kind of like a T, intersection. So I'm imagining the signpost could be there with like the left and the right pointed. Just because like looking at the map in terms of like, it's not super east, I guess, in the grand. Well, yeah, I guess in the overall map it is. Although from where we are, it's kind of central north. But I'm just kind of going off of like same way like I looked at the map to figure out the Tempest Expanse thing from Abe's vision. Like I'm just having fun because I like to solve clues. Whereas the Dan the Paladin is a little bit lower down in Meadow's basket. Yeah. Yeah, that was a tangent, but just I have a lot of questions. Cool. All right, let's talk about the battle.
Nothing happened.
It was pretty kind of low stakes, not that big of a deal, easy fight for us. Yeah, we were woken up at 2 a.m. by some cleansing breath mercenaries that mentioned that they were under attack, but they weren't entirely sure by what. Mud, ? And then we arrived at their camp to find that they were being attacked by some imp-like creatures and the grung, which are like froggy guys, right? And yeah, everything went to shit as the mate of the captured green dragon arrived and started just attacking us. All right. So against the wishes of Boz, we worked to broker peace with the dragon and ultimately allowed it to leave with its mate. Do we feel like we did the right thing?
I really did in the moment.
Yeah, that was my thinking too. And like going back, I'm like, I know the history of the world, but Nell wasn't there for it. It just felt really bad to like not like to have these two people, like these two creatures separated, like felt sad to me, you know. I don't know. I don't know.
Want to go around the circle?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Go ahead, Dallas.
Yeah, I think like that was kind of a confusing fight for me because I feel like a lot of the conversation happened in Draconic and I don't think Elwyn understood a lot of what was happening. And it's kind of something I thought more about afterwards as well, as I actually probably think Elwyn doesn't feel very favorably towards dragons. I think the desolation was not a great thing. So especially because you said something when the dragons were coming in where you were like, I'm going to burn this whole place down. And I think if Elwyn had like actually heard that in English, that were in common, that would have meant, you know, something different. But I was just going off of what Nell said. You know, it was clear that Nell and Drac were having a conversation and Nell said to stop fighting. So I was like, they've got it figured out. I'm going to trust that they know what's happening. But Dallas was on board with it. Dallas thought it made total sense to do in the moment until afterwards.
I think I want to end with Anthony just because it's obviously a much more loaded situation. And we have more stuff to talk about with that. So let's jump down to Ryan first.
Alrighty. So I also thought about this a lot after the session. And I think Gideon thinks we did the wrong thing. Because, you know, he's from Balesville, and I thought, like, you know, the only reason why he exists is because his family line survived Brule Bar. And Kardrak Mithlercoat probably had a big effect on Balesville without him knowing while growing up, probably sowing the seeds of hate towards dragons. So, yeah, Gideon's probably got some strong biases against dragons. The only reason why he didn't continue shooting is because you didn't want him to. But I asked the question in session, like, how do you know they're not just going to come back and fry the place? Like, can you really trust them? One dragon is a lot easier to deal with than two is. And it's like, okay, yeah, we'll see what happens.
And that's a fantastic way as a player to be like, I'm not on board with the plan, but I'm still going to work as a team, you know, just make your opinion voice still. Like, oh, what a good role play decision.
Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Abe might have some choice words for Baz at the start of next session.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say for me, and I was like, oh.
Oh no, no! I think everybody's dead Except for us. Like, what? There's one cleansing breath alive?
Is that
other
true?
than Baz?
How many
Like,
of them died?
So many.
Like,
A lot.
at least
I'm asking
9.
Denny specifically because I wasn't really paying attention to that.
I didn't count how many there were in the first place.
There were
Okay.
3 at the top. 3
There aren't enough
beside
numbers.
Baz.
Oh,
who
actually, I
didn't
do
try
know
to
the
help
number.
them.
Yeah, there was
Okay.
roughly 9. Yeah. So
Yeah.
approximately 8 are dead.
Yeah.
Like,
Ooh, okay.
and
Oh.
all he was doing was, as far as Abe knows, because he refuses to tell us what's going on. 7. It just looked like Baz was going after a trophy, while his warriors died
Yeah.
around him, and he didn't lift a finger to try to save them. Like, Abe thinks that we made the right choice. Unless so, the cause that Baz is apparently keeping secret, like, better be something incredible to shift Abe's opinion of him, because he's like not happy with him, and
That
he better not be treating my brother from another egg that way.
Oh my gosh, you came out of an egg? He might. I don't remember what we decided on this.
A
On
big
Dragonborn.
old crystal. Oh no, right.
Yeah, you came from an egg, Abe.
okay. That answer makes me feel a lot better though, because when both Dallas and Ryan were like, "Oh, we just did it because Nell said to," and I was like, "Uh-oh," because
Cool.
if it's
You
like,
could talk to it.
well, yeah, because I mean, if it was really though, like Nell just going with her gut and it's the wrong choice, like, oh, that feels bad. If everyone like just went along with it because it was my idea, like. But I also think I was trying to like pair it kind of like I could tell like Drac was uncomfortable with it too.
Yeah.
And yeah, it definitely seemed kind of like a pick your battle kind of moment. 'Cause it's like if everyone's dropping, like what makes you think that you're gonna be the one that's gonna like
Well,
yeah.
and
Smith
this,
and Wesson.
this is another fine example too of Nell stepping into a leadership position. Like Nell is really starting to shine through as like a unifying like tactical vision, which is really cool considering you're one of the youngest characters in the party. But everybody has put their trust into you.
Yeah.
But you did make the
Not
decision
one
based
of
on
the youngest, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends
Right.
how
Yes.
How
look
you
at it, Fred.
age. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
I think I keep putting Abe in like the old people bracket in my mind.
Depends
Is
if
it-
you include the chosen in that.
He's an
Yeah.
old soul, you know?
Yeah.
He's eternal.
Cannot confirm or deny.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun because it really wasn't my intention with Nels to be leadership, because that clearly like isn't like what she was expecting from home. But it's cool how it's playing out, but terrifying. Like again, like when I like knew like I was gonna give me like a bit of like diplomacy stuff, as in like that was a training received in Farm Hall. I was truly Googling like how to speak diplomatically because I was terrified about any time that might come up to have to do that
Mhm.
and just be like, I don't know.
You did great.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Well, thanks. All right, Anthony, you're up.
So, Drac has been like taught his whole life that dragons are sacred creatures. So when he sees a dragon that is sedated and their mate shows up, all he is thinking of is this is a sacred creature and their mate is probably pregnant with their children. He's not going to kill that dragon.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I guess we don't know like the sex of either of them, so
We don't, but if one is the mate of the other, children are probably happening. So, dragons are sacred, ergo, the dragon line must continue. These are green too. The stock is green. This one is super sacred. Drac is not harming this dragon in any way, shape, or form. So he believes that they did the right thing, and he is furious at his brother, but also very sad and confused.
Yeah.
And he's just regretful that he was unable to convince either the dragon or his brother that he was just trying to help.
It was
If only he had known what Baz was thinking.
yeah, that is a hard thing because again, it's almost in a way like Boz like brought it on himself because he was being so cryptic the entire time, and it's like,
He wasn't such a stupid, stubborn boy.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, what did he expect? He, like, tells you nothing and then gets mad at you when you make a choice based on the nothing he told you. Like, what do you
Stupid.
want?
Yeah, in a
man.
way, it's very like almost like manipulative in a sense of being like, well, you didn't know, but I like it's still your
He's
fault. And it's-
blaming Drac for his own failure.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that really gets me.
I don't think Boz is smart enough to be that manipulative. I think he's
That doesn't
actually
matter.
just a zealotous type of person.
In a way, though, it's kind of that thing of like, even if like, I guess there's a certain like I'm thinking about kind of like the term of like gaslighting is misused a lot, but like to do so, you have to be doing it purposefully. But there is like a manner of like this level of blame. Like it doesn't matter if it's intentional or not. Like it's still having that effect, and you still need to be held accountable. It's like I could say something racist, right, and be like, oh, I didn't mean it that way. But if that still harmed someone, I'm still like beholden to like the feelings that I inflicted, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of along that line. Okay. What was I gonna say? What was it like to be piloting Boz during
Oh, this
this?
fucking badass. He's
Yeah.
so strong. He has a dragon glass sword too.
Ooh.
He's kind of dope. Yo,
Or
can I
dragon
just
shard?
say,
Or is it dragon glass? Was I right? Dragon glass?
Dragon glass. Yeah.
Dragon glass, yeah.
hey, Anthony, I feel like I'm
Yo.
praising you a lot these past couple sessions, and it's not going to stop until you stop speaking Teutonic and shit. But here we go. Yeah, you made the ultimate cool dude decision with Baz during that session, just on the fly in that combat, like just banishing the
Yep.
fucking dragon. I was
so
like,
That was
cool, yeah.
a really hard choice to make because I was like, this would just turn this whole thing on its head and it's not going to end well. Everything's going to go to shit. But it's what Boz would do. And I have to do what Boz would do.
I loved that you committed to that. That was
Oh.
awesome.
That was very
huge.
cool.
Painful.
It was beautiful, and you know what, going into that fight, I was also like, I know I gave Christy the chance to pilot Finn during that other encounter, and this fight is kind of a bit of a mirroring of that same, a sibling encounter, let's let them control it, we've had a reunion of sorts. And I was like, in order to truly honor that mirroring, I gotta let you have control of Boz. But when you did pass it back over to me, I'm like, yeah, there is something
At
truly
that point, it
to be
was
said
like, I
about
have
this whole
to,
thing.
I
Yeah.
have to back off from that.
I thought
But-
it brought like a really interesting element to it as well, because like obviously it was kind of you playing with like your DM brain, Anthony, of
Absolutely.
like making those decisions, but it does kind of add that like more complex kind of like moral, I guess, like consideration to it of like kind of how conflicted Drac feels in that. So
Yeah, exactly. There's also there's an artistic thing with this in that, Boz is your brother. And, as siblings tend to, they absolutely love each other. But when there's disagreement or arguing or such, there's kind of, you can't really control somebody, And that's kind of what happened with, I let you have him, but I was like, he's also going to move here.
Yeah, no, that was totally fine, and it made sense for all the things that he was doing. Yeah, I'm glad that I got to do that banishment thing, because I think that was a big like story point. I think that was definitely like a turning point in that fight, and honestly, in Drac's overarching story, I think that's going to be a big, very big memory of his for a long time to come. Just watching his brother harm a sacred being in such a way like that. And also with the past knowledge of Drac knowing that Boz has killed other dragons.
yeah.
And now he's wondering, did Boz do it because he had to? Or because he wanted to?
Because he seemed to want to.
He
He's
seemed kind of
clearly-
hungry at the thought, yeah.
Yeah, he's clearly so within his own mind about whatever this like secret cause is, and like so sure that it's the right path that like it does like feel, I don't know, I guess not culty necessarily, but there's like kind of like, I guess like that zealot's like passion, I suppose, of just being like so convinced that you're taking the right steps to the point that it's too far.
I'll bring up the quote that I had already mentioned earlier. What makes a character interesting is the want, even if that want completely goes against their established ideals. Makes them a hypocrite.
Yes. Very true. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, it's really interesting. It might be too like, this might be something that more that you want to have come out in like improv, but do you have any like, because we left it like right in the middle of that tense moment, like, do you have any consideration of what you think Drax's next steps will be after all of this?
Yeah, like the freeze frame that I have in my head of the ending of that episode is Boz walking away and Drax just like on his knees, tears streaming down his face, just reaching out to his brother as he walks away, with like, you know, dead cleansing breath around him, and I don't think it was raining, but maybe it is in Drax in my mind.
It is now. I've decided.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna be just a deep thought, a lot of prayers. Gonna go out tonight, and he probably won't sleep.
Hey, non-sleeping buddies, let's go.
That's fair.
Non-sleeping boys who need sleep.
I will say, like, I'm gonna be really interested to see like where it like picks up, because it's interesting. Like, it's very like good for like story beat to like end kind of in that moment. But I almost think it's like hard to go from like 0 to 100 at the beginning of the next session of just like, ooh, we're right back in like some like really heavy emotions and like what that's gonna look like.
Yeah, I feel like it may be best to
We might like
jump
start
ahead.
Yeah, we'll say
Like we're getting like our last like 2 hours of sleep or something. We're all exhausted, but we have to go to this appointment, and it's just gonna be like we'll hand wave the walk home or the walk back to the inn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fine. But I do now, after Adam's answer, have a vision of Abe just grabbing Boz by the throat, like like getting pissed at him, and I would love to see that come to fruition. So
That's not gonna end well.
well.
For Baz.
Anthony's seen the stat
no.
block.
I've seen the stat block. You don't win that.
I didn't take any damage.
That's true. Yeah,
Just
if you
feel
catch
Matt
it,
Melded at
just-
my side.
For now.
Hey, I mean, depending how things go in the morning, one last reckless act with Maldon on your side, you know? Why not? Or like we're all like sleep, and then Abe's like, well, I got somewhere to be. Like sneak out and just go like try and fuck Boz up.
I think right now Drac is wise enough to know that both like his brother is a hothead and is a hothead right now, like extra hot right now, and just needs to cool off. But he knows he's not going to be able to talk to his brother for months, maybe. But he knows where to find him.
Oh God, depending on how things go, it's gonna be that thing. I'm like, us heading to the Tempest Expanse is gonna happen eventually, but I feel like it's pretty far down the line in terms of the grand scheme, especially considering what happens next session with Abe. But now I'm like, okay, so if it comes around that we're like going back to Fort Hale to like talk to Boz again, and he's like gone on some kind of like zealot's mission to just fucking like he's just tearing his way through the jungles of the Tempest Expanse, like that gives me a lot of anxiety to think about him just going on like a fucking murderous rampage.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those situations where, you know, never leave angry, but like this might be the last time Drax sees his brother.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a tough one, right? Like, I don't know. I will say kudos, Teni. This is some really good like storytelling, I guess. And like, obviously, you couldn't have known necessarily. Like, actually, it's one of my questions. It's like, did the fight go the way that you expected it to? But like, in that regard, like, because like now I think it's given Drax something else to do, because up until like this fight, it was kind of like, okay, well, your whole thing was trying to find your brother, and now you have. So what's kind of like next, other than just like following through with what you feel is like your moral obligation to the group? So now you have something else to. That was a bit of a ramble, but
Makes sense.
So basically, the point was kudos to Teni, and then also did fight go the way you expected it to?
I held no expectation for how that fight would end. I was prepared for everything for this one, actually, which I was pretty happy about. In fact, like both of those dragons were NPCs. Like, I was totally prepared to roleplay as them. They had names, they had information, and now they're gone.
They're not dead.
Oh, I know.
You find them again.
Oh, I mean, it would not have been the right time to be like, oh, there's a domestic happening
What's
over
your
here.
name?
But tell me about the Tempest Expanse and how did you guys meet? How long have you been together?
Holy shit.
We'll get tea
Yeah,
at a different time.
Actually, to that point, did they fly in the direction of the Tempest Expanse?
Yeah, the one who could fly was trying to carry them back that way.
Back southwest.
South.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wonder how far they made it. They're probably about
Yeah.
the same weight, right?
Yeah, they're the same size category, and one is an unconscious heap, and, when you pick up somebody and try and move with them, you can only go half speed, so it's going to be a terribly difficult journey
they
through
probably didn't
lands
make
that
it
consider
super
you
far.
a hostile monster.
Yeah, they may not make it far.
Feels so bad for the frog person that survived. He's like,
He's just like,
guys, we just got here.
God.
It'll take
I
me
love how
so
we just,
long
like-
to get back.
he just like slipped out. He was like looking up, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna leave now. Thanks for fighting. It was a fun time. Bye.
One less grung in the world.
And also
Little
just the
guy.
lizard folk who was just hiding casting spells that entire time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm assuming that guy summoned all the imps.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
They were a modified lizard folk shaman, and instead of summon or conjure animals, I gave them conjure elementals.
Just
Were those
assumed that was
mud-
the dragon.
Were those mud things like methods, but a little bit like, or were they just straight up methods?
They were just straight
They
up
were straight
methods.
up methods.
Oh, nice.
In defense of the dragon, I will say, looking at the map, like past Fort Hale, there's not much in terms of like human
Settlements.
Civilization.
settlements. Thank you. So they could probably like find a place to stop and get those shackles off, and I have hopes for them. Hopefully,
They just
I'm
got to roll a
still-
30. Easy.
for a
All right.
dragon, it's a lot easier. I will say.
For a
So,
young dragon? Still.
Well, I
Sophie?
mean, but if they have kind of like time out of combat, they can just like roll until they crit. If you're thinking about it in like a mechanical way.
If only their stats
If only.
could get them to 30.
yeah.
Oh god.
Can the
So-
dragon not even do it?
They're not strong enough.
Oh my god, this is so sad.
That's what I thought when
What
then
did
you
she
kept
even
like,
do?
They've got a red
Did we help
dragon,
at all?
buddy. The red
Oh my
dragon.
god,
will
Denny,
do
that's
it.
so sad.
So sad.
God, is the only
Yep.
person who could have done it Boz if he crits?
no. Boz couldn't do it either.
Oh, I
You
thought
just
he had a
need-
plus
whoever
10.
has the key can do it, which is
Yeah,
probably
you would need,
Buzz.
You would need like whatever key, which I'm
Yeah.
assuming Boz had. But yeah, no, Boz is not strong enough to just break those by himself.
I am curious as to what the hell Boz planned to do with that dragon.
Yeah.
It is something that I am so concerned about.
If
Now that we
only
know-
he had told me.
Yeah. Now that we know like the depths of his zealotry, it's just like, oh no, like what was he planning on doing?
Oh yeah, I'm curious to know like kind of because he did mention vaguely that there was some sort of like balance element to it. And how much did Drac tell him about like our thing with the druids?
I mean, there wasn't a lot of like in session explanation, but Drac probably would have filled Boz in almost entirely on it.
It makes me wonder if like there is some element of like crossover between those two things, but perhaps he's just operating on like either bad information or just different side. So
Yeah, maybe. But this is like his mission that he was sent out on by the elders back home, which leads me to believe that the elders are the ones who are sending him to this like zealotous cause.
That's interesting too, right? Because like it seems like he's also going against like the foundation of like your religion's beliefs.
Which means that the elders are.
Ooh.
The elders are corrupt.
And then he asked me why I thought my mother never left home.
That's a big question.
Oh, good lord, that's some heavy shit.
But she could have. She knows a lot of languages. She would have made a good living or a good life as like a translator and emissary. But she didn't. And like my thought was like, oh, well, she had a family with Drax's father, and they lived a nice life in Darrokarth, and they both had major impacts on the lifestyle there. So,
Wait,
why
and
would
is
they...
it
Go ahead.
and is it true that like you couldn't leave without getting permission?
Yes.
Is that a thing that happened? Yeah.
Yeah. Generally, you're just supposed to stay within the Ringsar Peaks, go no further than the springs.
Sounds fucky.
Ooh. Yikes. Sounds problematic. Well,
But Denny's
Something
perfectly flat face right now
is
during all of that.
Fucky.
yeah.
Nifty.
Well, all right. That'll be an interesting nut for us
Just-
to crack.
Just
eventually.
hearing it come from you, I'm just like, oh, this world is so juicy.
It is very juicy.
All
We love the juice.
right. Does anyone have anything else they would like to say or talk about the session or anything coming up?
Hey,
Because if not, we're gonna head to the fun question corner.
I was gonna say
Ooh.
Logan's in the chat. Maybe he has a question.
Logan, what's up, buddy?
Logan.
He's watched the episode.
No, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't.
Line for line, repeat.
Logan,
everything
how
about
tall
it.
are you?
Logan.
We already confirmed he's
Yeah.
6'6", 6'7"-ish.
Now, Logan's got a proper question. How hungover was my character that they slept through all this? My question to you is, does Azaria consume alcohol in excess? Because I don't want to make that call on your behalf, but it was enough to keep them out of the fight.
Nope.
No, they do not drink to excess.
I like to imagine
Okay.
like they're probably just very like emotionally exhausted from figuring out like their next steps. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so someone's no
Spiked
one
your
spiked your drink. No,
Nope,
no.
We're not doing that.
No
Nope.
fantasy
We-
roofies here.
Yeah, we decided as a group that is not part of our world. So no, that did not happen.
It was
Actually.
Deuce X Drunkina is what it was.
Yeah.
You just got drunk enough.
Yeah. All right. Gonna head over to the fun question corner. I have a few different ones. Firstly, once we meet everyone's respective family member that they then pilot in a combat, can we do a one-shot battle royale where we all play the character and then
I
like
would
all
love to play
fight?
Boz in a
Oh, you all
PvP.
have fun with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, okay, cool. Me, Abe, and Gideon, so we're here.
It's just gonna be. Oh no, I forgot Nell's brother's name.
Finn.
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 Wow.
Finn versus Baz.
Yeah.
This is where we could
Just
all
be
play
paladin
NPCs
fight.
again.
So it'd be
I'm outta
Finn, Baz, Gideon's dead siblings, Malden,
All
And,
of Gideon's dead siblings. He has to play all three of them?
and
Two.
Waylayla.
Two.
Layla, hey, she probably has a decent shot, right?
Oh,
Well, it doesn't have to be a family member. It can just be like a connected. So we could meet Monty, and maybe he's super jacked.
and
That is part of his story. I actually said he's a big guy. He's big.
There
True.
we go.
and
you go.
Logan will have the 4 archdruids.
Oh, Jesus. That's a little unfair.
Seems unfair.
They're a unit.
I have Malden.
Okay. I'm not.
Yeah, we're not afraid of Malden.
Oh,
Please.
Malden
Yes.
should be.
It's
Malden's
unfair
just a
because
theory.
no, as we discussed, they are a hawk. It's unfair because Finn does not get to be the first Amara that fights Malden because that is for me to do. I have dibsed it.
What if I got the 3 paths?
Like a leader from each.
No,
No,
like
the three champions.
individuals. Yeah, the 3 champions.
Like the
Chocobunda?
Tyrannosaurus,
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
okay. The
The
original.
Endless
Beast,
Wanderer.
the Eternal Challenger, the Endless Wanderer.
Okay. Well, we don't know about anything about the other two, so I would
Yeah,
have
I'm more scared of them than I am of Malden.
Oh, wait. You know what this means? I
Really?
could play as Amdus for this because my character doesn't have a family, so I can play
As
as my
Family.
We can all just play Nell's family.
I'm gonna fuck you up, kiddo.
There's enough of
Better
them.
watch out.
He's much more spry than that.
Oh my god.
Now, that's a one-shot to be had. Nell's Family Brawl.
Oh my god.
There was only one turkey leg left, and they had to decide who would get it.
I would literally love that so much to have like either like
I
all
would
of
actually
the, like,
so
the
down.
older siblings. Well, yeah. In a timeline where my twin isn't frozen, that's me. So there's 4 already, and then Amdus, and then we just need one more. So someone could play my mom, Solvi, because she's the leader and she's strong, I'm assuming. So unless someone wants to play my like small elven father.
Oh yes, please.
Cool.
Play him like Galir.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Nice.
Like, I'll
Kind of-
just eat yogurt in the corner.
It's kind of how I imagine, like not like that pathetic, but like he truly is. Like I told Teni when we were talking about it,
Just
I'm
a
like,
guy.
he's a male wife.
a guy.
Like he's like a all
House
about.
husband.
Yeah, he's a house husband basically. Like he's just like there for his wife, and he's just kind of not really like a combat person as much. He's just kind of like, look at my cool wife, and that's about it. So
Yes, dear, I will take care of the children while you are off fighting in the forests, training our next line of paladins. I will eat the yogurt that is remaining on my shirt.
yes.
My only
Bean.
question for this is, do I have to make young Amdus, as in Amdus
No.
the Hammer, or old caring
Old.
grandfather Amdus? Okay.
I want him like the Uncle Iroh that you've been envisioning this entire time.
Yeah.
So.
Prime.
I actually am curious because it didn't say on Finn's character sheet what level he was. So what level is Finn? What level was Boz?
These guys don't
Challenge rating 9, I think I saw.
They're NPCs, and I have a thing of not giving classes to NPCs. Like, they'll have features that are similar or reminiscent of a class, but classes I reserve for the players.
Fair.
Same here.
Because you're the one who has the information on both of them. Do you think
Who's gonna win?
which one do you think is stronger between the two of them?
Oh, Boz is absolutely
Challenge-
stronger.
He's challenge rating 5.
Mine didn't have a challenge rating on it.
No, because I built yours differently as I was figuring out the system. And out of the two of them, Boz is the stronger.
Okay,
Kind of a
well,
beast.
but Boz is like done, right? So he's not gonna be prepared for Finn's
He's done.
Finn's
Okay.
pranks and his trickery, right?
Right.
So
Oh, he's dumb. I see what you said. Well, they said he was done. I was like, what?
he's done.
No, Finn's done. As soon as
We
he gets
finished
within
it.
grabbing distance.
No, it's fine.
Gets
It's
within
fine.
grabbing distance of Abe's done.
Stop. All right. Fun question number 2 is who here would actually eat a bug meat sandwich in real life?
Sure.
Fuck
Um,
no.
Yeah.
I mean, I've eaten crickets before. Like
Oh.
they actually like are a little bit of a snack in certain areas of Northern Ontario. So
Much
like,
like yourself.
Oh.
But only
Okay.
in Northern Ontario.
I wasn't expecting to. Thank you. I suck
Wow.
at compliments.
You're blushing so much. I love
That's funny.
Oh man, yeah, Irish descent. I know.
I love
it. Well, shit. What was I talking about? Yeah, crickets.
Bugs.
So, anyways, yeah, they like I don't know how they cook them or anything like that, but they put like barbecue spice and stuff on them as well. They actually taste really good if you can get past the appearance and the texture. But I struggled with that for the first few times that I saw that.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
in a
good.
lot of cultures, they are just like a source of protein, so it's not like it's
Yeah.
a weird thing. I was thinking more specifically like our fantasy, like kind of like a cracking a bug leg or like just having kind of like a very mayo infused sandwich. Is I think what we landed on from our drunken conversation. I would pass on the mayo part of it specifically, so that's just my personal belief system.
I will take none of it, thank you.
again, I was trying to reference The Lion King in a way that was like fantasy elements, but
Oh yeah, I got that reference.
I
That
got
was a
it
good
too.
one.
I got it when you were
when they
saying
eat
it. Yeah.
when they eat the bugs in The Lion King, they look so good.
Mhm.
Like, they just look so like juicy. Like, I really want to
Nope.
eat a bug like that.
I would much
Not-
rather a crispy dry bug. And similar to Ryan, I've had ice cream with bugs in it.
Oh,
They had like mealworms
Nice.
and pieces of cricket.
Oh,
and
that's an interesting way.
thankfully, it was not my ice cream cone. I only got to try some of it, and then I went back to eating like butterscotch ripple or something.
Hell yeah.
Where was that?
That was when I was working in San Francisco.
Oh, okay. Very
Yeah, if you
interesting.
if you want that ice cream, go down there in Halloween.
You want to eat some bugs with your ice cream?
That was a cool moment because we got to decide if there's bugs around the Rings Are Peaks, and you don't have to tell me, but I'm curious to know what bugs are there in the Rings Are Peaks.
Well, that's actually a
I'm
great
just-
point, because I want to encourage more of that. It's like, this is your part of the world. Like, if you want to say something is there, like, kind of fly it by me, and I'll help you tweak it if necessary, or I'll just straight up be like, unfortunately not this time. But like, yeah, I'm down with the idea of having bugs in the Rings Are Peaks. There's probably a good remirez on occasion.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
That's great, Teni, because I've been thinking about instituting yellow
God.
moss infestation in Balesville all over the place that spawned from the popcorn. That's what I'm thinking about.
You got it.
So, yellow moss zombies all day. Let's go. Yeah, I think it's yellow moss. D&D stuff. Lots of plants. Plants are evil in D&D.
All of them.
Alrighty.
Game's really trying to make us accelerate deforestation, but here we are.
As for actually eating bugs, I would not eat that bug that we described.
Like
It
I
sounded
mentioned,
like a crab.
I don't even like
I mentioned, I
crabs.
can't eat a
Oh.
crab leg because I don't like it when a thing looks like it's like a thing.
I hate it when things look like things.
When it looks too much like a creature,
I
I'm
just
not
want
a
amorphous
fan.
paste,
Well, I just wanted to.
Give me space food.
I'm not explaining it well, but it makes sense to me. Like,
I
I can
agree.
eat,
It
I can
makes
eat a
sense, yeah.
shrimp. I can't eat a shrimp. Like, I can't prepare a shrimp where I have to devein it or do any of that stuff. Or if it has the legs, I can't. But I'll eat it like a peeled cooked shrimp. But I can't crack crab leg. It creeps me out. And I don't really like doing a lobster either. I'll eat a tail, but I don't want to do all the stuff.
I hear you.
Anywho, all right, last fun question, and then we should probably wrap it up. This one, Dallas wanted us to do because she was watching a lot of Dimension 20 Adventuring Party, which is the best show in the world. So, if
Other than ours.
other than
obviously.
ours,
But our show.
obviously, of course,
We're a close second.
Yeah.
take that,
What you
Dimension
did, you
20.
made Denny.
Jenny, why are you getting offended? This is my show. If anything, it was a self burn. Yeah. So, if you had to change character sheets and play one of the other PCs, which one would you choose? And for Denny, just which PC would you be most interested in playing out of the group?
This is a good question.
I'm gonna make Dallas start because this was obviously you must have been thinking about this.
I thought about it and I have an answer.
All right.
My initial gut reaction, because I'm thinking kind of just mechanically, because you all play your characters, yourselves. I don't think I could ever play their story properly. So I'm kind of just thinking mechanically in this city.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But my gut reaction was Abe, because I love the Zealot Barbarian so goddamn much. I was like, oh, I just want to play that again. But then I thought more about it. I have played that, and the one that feels more like I just don't know is Drac. I don't know how Drac plays even a little bit, and I would be very curious to get my hands on that character sheet for a fight. I don't know how a cleric monk works even a little bit.
Well, it
So I
came
think
up
Drac would be a really
at
interesting
least
one.
Once in the ghost fight, I was able to cross the battlefield quickly
Yeah.
and heal people. That's kind of the thing I was going for. Obviously, story beats have happened in other fights where I haven't been able to do so, or I've wasted my spell slots doing dumb shit. So, but that's kind of the idea, is I have my action to heal, or I have my action to punch, but I can bonus action heal, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like you've got a lot of really cool melee and spell stuff you can do.
Yeah, that's
And you
kind of
move
what I was
very
going
quickly.
for.
Yeah, I think Drac would be really fun to play.
Conversely, I would love to play Elowin because I fucking love warlocks, and I love all of your mind abilities, like the share intuition, I think is super cool, and the fact that when you give it to someone else, you get resistance to damage. That's a great way to like encourage team play. Yeah, Elowen for sure.
I love me some paladins. I would be playing as Nell for sure if I were to switch character sheets with somebody.
I hope you're prepared to play a really bad paladin.
Well, that's also the thing is like it's cool. I like the multi-class idea. I've never multi-classed in a paladin before, so it'd be interesting to see like when you decide to go in versus when you're at a distance and what spells you can buff yourself with before you go in and stuff like that. Like,
Yes, to buff oneself with a spell before going in, not just going in and hoping for the best. That could be a way to play. That's not how I play.
To be fair, you did just bless during the start of this campaign, or the start of this past fight.
You did.
Yes, I hadn't taken bless before, because it just felt kind of like I didn't feel like connected enough with Fire to feel like I could like give her blessing to other people. To be honest, I kind of just stalked it because I thought it'd be more interesting for the magic contest, and I didn't go back and change my paladin spells after that. But then I was kind of like, I think maybe I could start fucking with having bless, because it'd be really helpful like for both myself and Drac to be able to bless, because we could get the entire group with that. So yeah.
Yeah, because even with like my current spell slots, I can only do up to 4. So
yeah, but why even bother casting it at a second level just to add one more, right? So because like first level you get 3, that's pretty good. So if we both do it at a first, like yeah. So
I have a specific character sheet. I think it's like a 3-way tie between Rhea, Elowen, and Nell. I've never played a full caster that wasn't like a heavy armor proficient cleric, so playing a warlock would be really cool. When we first started talking about characters for this, warlock was a class I was thinking about playing. Same kind of reasoning with Nell being 4 levels in sorcerer now, of having those spell slots to play with that aren't cleric spells. And I'm just super curious about what Teni and Logan came up with the learned, and I think it would also be really cool to play like a support-based martial character, because I really enjoyed Battlemaster as Arturos. So it'd be interesting to play that without the offensive prowess of a full fighter.
And for myself, similar list, I would want to play as Elowen or Azaria for those same kind of reasons, like we homebrewed these. This is new stuff, new mechanics, and I'm like, well, firstly, I would want to play for the reason of, let's make this shit good and let's get it honed and like make sure we're not busting anything. But also, it's a new experience, and I have touched almost everything in D&D, so I'm like, this is new stuff. Let's go. Wait, I don't have offensive prowess? How dare you, Adam, says Logan.
Anyway.
Let's move on.
Can we pose this question to Logan as well? Logan,
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
sorry to rush you kind of in typing, Logan. Logan rolled the D20 and rolled a 3. Things aren't looking good. Hopefully
You weren't rolling for death.
Well,
that's
while
too
Logan
soon.
types, I can answer because I haven't yet.
Okay.
So I think I would actually want to play like Gideon, maybe, because I've always wanted to do a gunslinger. Just because I don't know, something about it seems like really fun to like. I have like an idea in my mind of if I were ever play a gunslinger, like what that character build looks like. So I'd love to do that. That or like a barbarian, like I would do Abe, because like I'm not really playing this up so much now with Nell because of the sorcerer levels, but I just want to be really strong and big and hit things really hard and good. And like I've never done barbarian before, but it seems so like so dope in terms of like when you rage taking like that. Well, I guess I do one in Adrian's campaign, but I'm a capybara, so it's a little different.
I know. I play a wizard in that campaign too, and I'm like, I don't feel like I'm playing a wizard.
It counts as much because that whole campaign is a little broken and super homebrewed. So
I feel like I'm playing a god in that campaign.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Drop me to 0. Let's get 120 HP.
I have an ability in that campaign, like when I go into like my super saiyan mode, where I can just from 40 like feet away, I think, Reggie, teleport to someone and do 10 times my level, which currently are like increased level right now is like 15. So I can just do 150 damage. It's insanity. It's
He
so
was
crazy.
So stupid.
Anyway, but playing
Christy
a proper
kills.
barbarian would be interesting.
I never die.
By the way, Logan said that he'd want to play Abe or Drac because they're both classes that he hasn't played. But in Drac's case, it's a combo of monk cleric, and Anthony makes Logan want to play a monk.
Yeah.
Very
Punch
cool.
wizard cast fist.
Give yourself
Yeah.
a pat on the back.
Alrighty. Well,
That was a fun question.
yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll do
I
kind
have
of
more from the Dimension 20 adventure
yeah, I was
parties.
gonna say
Steal
Dallas.
questions from D20.
Dallas has quite a few of those. So I think going forward, maybe we'll end on like a fun question segment.
Cool.
I like it.
Yeah. So that being said, I'm gonna wrap up because I've got my boy here and he's gonna help me. So thank you all so much for hanging out with us for our very first live episode of After Party, as we discussed all of our thoughts and feelings about this past episode, Shifting Scales. If you have any questions about the Play Dicely campaign that we'd like us to answer, you can send them to me on Twitter at cbkclo or via email at to cbkclo@gmail.com. And that's all for us. And we invite you to join us next time. And Danny has a thing. Just kidding.
Yeah,
Just
well,
kidding.
I mean, if we continue doing these things live, you could ask us in the chat
Oh, yeah, ask me
during
in the
these
chat.
live streams.
Yeah, my cat just bit me. And that's the joy of being live. Oh,
Woo!
alrighty. Cool. Well, just kidding. That is all for us. We invite you to join us next time on Play Dicely After Party. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Later.